Okay, good afternoon and thank you for joining us. And before we begin, we acknowledge that we're in the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe peoples in the Huron-Robinson Treaties area. And we recognize the long history of First Nations and Métis peoples on this land. We've learned from our First Nation partners that we must accept the responsibility of taking care of Mother Earth, her plants, her animals, and our shared peoples. We look to each other and the elders of both nations as a source of inspiration, guidance, and the living memory of our communities. We must ensure that the decisions we make today will take into consideration the future of our children and that of our children's children. As settlers on this land, we're grateful for the opportunity to meet here, and we thank all of the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. So I'll call the meeting to order and ask for approval of the agenda. We have an addendum with 4 items on it, which I hope everybody has received. There is some correspondence on a couple issues. We have a delegation to introduce, and there will be a short closed meeting at the end of our meeting. With that, can I have approval of the agenda? Thank you. And is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest or nature thereof? Nope. Okay. I have a motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby adopt the minutes of the regular and closed session meetings of Council held on April 22nd, 2025 as circulated. Can I have a mover? Gail and Terry. All in favor? And that's carried. And I have a motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby adopt the minutes of the special meeting of Council held on April 28th, 2025 as circulated. Mover, Greg, and Ken. All in favor? And I have a motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby adjourn the regular meeting to hold a public meeting for the following matters: a zoning bylaw amendment application number R 2025-0007-H and consent application number B 2025-0001-H for Calcon Capital Incorporated. Could I have a mover? Okay, all in favor, public meeting. Thank you. Council will now hold public meetings for proposed consent and zoning bylaw amendment applications. In accordance with the Planning Act, Council will consider all matters placed before it prior to granting a consent or passing a zoning bylaw amendment. Anyone wishing to receive notice of a decision or notice of passing of a zoning bylaw amendment and who has not submitted such a request in writing should provide your full name and address to the clerk. No one other than the prescribed persons may appeal an application under the provisions of the Planning Act. If they do not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin prior to the decision of Council, then the Ontario Land Tribunal may dismiss the appeal. The application for zoning bylaw amendment application number R 2025-0007-H for Crescent and Porter is to amend the limited service residential exception 134 zone to permit the proposed dwelling and a boathouse. I now ask the clerk to state the method by which the notice of the meeting was provided and the dates on which that notice was provided.
Notice of the public meeting was provided by posting the property, posting on the Township of Seguin's website, and by regular mail on March 20th, 2025. Notice was therefore considered to provide in accordance with requirements of the Planning Act.
Has the township received any correspondence with respect to this application?
Correspondence has been received from Peter and Kim Enns and Ron and Pam Lloyd.
Is there anyone present in person in the council chambers who wishes to speak in favor of or in opposition to this application? Please raise your hand. Hi, John. And you know the drill of how to identify yourself? No. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Worship, members of council. I'm actually representing the agent, which is JS Custom Builders, who are have contracted this property and they hope to build a new dwelling on it. When they first came to me with their ambitions, I examined it and fairly carefully, and it's a sort of a strange shape of a property on Sandy Farm Road, the southeast corner of the municipality on Lake Rosso. But they have an interesting design where it is mostly a bungalow. So it's a combination of keeping it low and low impact. And what I had done for them is I assessed what could be permitted on the property as of right, which in this case, the property could be divided into two. Because it's a single property and a large frontage and a sort of shallow depth, it's limited to a small percentage amount of coverage. That's the way the dynamics of your bylaw work. But if it was two lots, so they would be allowed to have 7%. And the way the math works in terms of coverage, we have calculated that building it as a single lot, we would actually not exceed the entitlement if it was two lots. And we think that's better for a number of reasons. We're sending the property back a little farther on the property. It's also being set back quite substantially from the property to the south. That person originally wrote in, the prospective developers have talked to them. They're going to work with them to build a berm and a tree screen so there's low impact. And so we're essentially creating a single family unit rather than two, which I think would be, in terms of the density of the use of the property, a little bit more appealing for the neighborhood. So I realize this is just the public meeting session, so I'll leave that with you, but I'd be happy to answer questions if members of council felt they had any.
Okay, thank you. Has anyone asked to speak through electronics?
No one has requested to speak through electronic participation.
Okay. Does council have any questions for Mr. Jackson? Or of Brady, who worked with you?
And fantastic, she is. Thank you.
No questions? Oh, Councillor Fellner.
This is for Mr. Jackson. So just reading here, it says the frontage, the shore frontage is 159 meters.
Yes, but it's a contoured bay. If you were to divide it and you use the calculation for determining frontage, you actually end up with two 90-meter frontages, which is the requirement for a new lot in the bylaw.
Right. Okay. I see what angle you're going to. So no further, no questions. It's just a comment, and I don't know much about this site because but generally, we're seeing like this is on total coverage, this is like a 73% ask. And, we had a couple in the last few meetings, and consistently we're being asked for these big increases. And I don't know if that's because the calculation for the, having to include the boathouse in the initial coverage for 60 meters is throwing it for a bit of a loop on these lakes, because there's not very many lakes in Seguin that are allowed to have these boathouses. So in a way, it's a right to have the boathouse, but is it punitive to what they're allowed to build on the rest of the lot? I think that's something we need to look at as as an organization. No comments directly to this proposal, just general contracts. Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
Okay. Just a quick question. If you were going to divide it into two, how would you divide it? Would it be shoreline divided by two?
Yes.
Okay, so it would be two cottages or two homes.
Yes, which
Okay.
obviously is not
Oh,
the
I know.
preference. It's to have
Okay,
the entitlement over a larger area.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Gail? Oh, sorry, Councillor Finson?
So I think I missed something. So if you divided it into two lots, you would build two cottages? And if you leave it, you'll build what you have now, which is the similar amount of base? Is that what you're saying?
Correct, through your worship. If you, just quickly going through the numbers, is approximately 10,000 square meters that's eligible for the development calculation at 159 meters. That is a 5% coverage. What we'd like to do is go above that, obviously, to 8.8. And the rationale for that is if we did divide it into, which we could get a bit more coverage between the cottages and a boathouse on the property. So the net increase is actually a little less by leaving it as one large bungalow style lot.
I just don't understand how you think you're going to get the same amount of more coverage when if you're not going to get it for one, are you going to get it for two?
Well,
Making the same.
if I could, through your worship, the dynamic of the frontage and area ratio is at play here. So if we have two 90-meter lots, they're allowed 7% coverage each. One 159-meter lot is only allowed 5% coverage. That's the difference.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you, your worship.
The purpose of consent application number B 2025-0001-H for Calcon Capital, Inc. is to permit a boundary adjustment to benefit an existing waterfront property. I now ask the clerk to state the method by which the notice of the meeting was provided and the dates on which that notice was provided.
Notice of the public meeting was provided by posting the property, posting on the Township of Seguin's website, and by regular mail on April 28th, 2025. Notice was therefore considered to provide in accordance with the requirements of the Planning Act.
Has the township received any correspondence with respect to this application?
Correspondence has been received from William Hicks, agent for the applicant, requesting deferral of the application.
Okay, and before we go forward, I'm going to ask Brady to give us a little bit of background on the request for the deferral.
Yes, thank you, through your worship. The applicant's agent has requested to defer the application. The agent has proposed alternate options for the existing boathouse at 268 Stanley House Road, rather than demolishing the boathouse. Staff are in agreement to defer the application to the June 16th meeting. And this is just to allow time for staff to discuss the proposed options with the agent.
Thank you. And I don't see anyone else to address that. Has anyone registered to speak to this application electronically?
No one has registered to speak to this application via electronic participation.
So does council have any questions? We will bring the resolution forward and then potentially defer it, but we have to go through those steps. Do you have any questions of Brady? Nope. Okay. Okay. Councillor Fellner?
Thank you, Mayor. So, okay, so this sort of brings me, so the process here, and I'm relying on the township clerk to correct me if I'm wrong, is that if we're gonna put the resolution on the table that was supposed to be on there today, because we were having a public meeting and then voting on it, correct? And that was on the basis that the old boathouse is gonna get torn down. So now they're saying, well, we're not sure we really want to do that. We might want to do something else. So then I want, whatever way we defer this, I want it deferred so that when the public meeting occurs, that we have the public meeting and then we have it, then it's brought back, the resolution is brought back at a later date. I don't want the next public meeting and the resolution at the same meeting.
That's what we're doing, I think.
Actually, I will defer that to Brady to see if that affects any of the timing required for the application, but I don't think that's an issue.
Yes, so if we have to recirculate the application, we do have enough time per the Planning Act requirements to recirculate it.
and then come back with a resolution on the 16th of June?
Yes.
So does that satisfy?
Well, no, I'm not really sure. Okay, that just made me,
Okay.
confused me even more.
Clerk is going to speak to it.
So just to clarify, what Brady is saying is assuming they have a meeting with the applicant and there's something to come back to council, it would be the June 16th meeting.
Mhm.
And then that would be the public meeting.
Right.
And then it would be up to council whether or not they wanted to pass the resolution, or if there was one at that meeting or the next meeting following that. That would be a council decision. You understand me?
So, but if the resolution was brought at that meeting, then correct me if I'm wrong, then we would have to defer that resolution.
If they brought it forward, but I would suspect, based upon what you said, Counselor, is that they wouldn't bring it forward for a decision. They would just have similar to the first, or similar to A today.
Similar
Yeah.
day to day,
Yes.
which is for,
Which would bring it back to the first meeting in July.
okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you. So I have the existing resolution that the public, oops. No, do I do this? No, I need to have the one that's going to get deferred.
No, we have to come out of the public.
Okay, I have to come out of public. Okay, sorry. I have a motion that the public meeting held for the following matters is hereby closed and the regular meeting is hereby reconvened for zoning bylaw amendment application number R 2025-0007-H and consent application number B 2025-0001-H. So I need to come out of public. Can I have a mover? Thank you, Ken. All in favor? Thank you. Now I have a list.
So. Council's just going to defer this, don't put a date on it.
Don't put a date on it, okay? Do I need a mover and a seconder to do? So do I put it on with these guys for?
Mover and seconder, and then just somebody will motion move to defer, and then just defer it, don't defer it to a specific.
Okay, I have to put this on the table. I have a motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby grant provisional approval to consent application number B 2025-0001-H for Calcon Capital, subject to the conditions set out in the decision. So to put this on the table, I need a mover and a seconder. Ken and Mario. Is there anyone that will move? Okay, and so we have a mover and a seconder to defer it. Could I have a motion to, or a vote on the deferral? And that's carried. Thank you. Thanks, Brady. And now I believe, Councillor Getty, you have a delegation to present to us.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Today, we're lucky we have Michaela Metcalf is here. She's the crisis worker for the Mobile Crisis Response Team in partnership with the OPP serving West Perry Sound. I had the pleasure of meeting her last year at the first annual health fair, Seguin Health Fair. And I can tell you of all of the representatives at that fair, her program and the interaction she had with the people attending there was second to none, was probably one of the best received programs that we've had there. I've been able to watch over the last year with my position on the Police Services Board, the benefits to the community of the program. And we thought it would be a benefit to council to hear a presentation from Michaela about the program, where it is and where it's hoping to go. And Michaela, the floor is yours. If you can just doing pretty good here.
Yeah,
Press the
you-
little green button.
Till the
on
green button
microphone.
comes on.
It's on.
Okay.
Is it good? Okay.
Yeah.
Hi. Thank you for having me, and thanks, Greg, for inviting me to come to the health fair again this year. So the MCERT program is MCRT. It stands for Mobile Crisis Response Team. And the vision of the program is to reduce the impact on the criminal justice system and the hospital system. As you know, in Parry Sound, we have one hospital and we have not a lot of family doctors available. So that being said, when there's a crisis in the community, they're all going to the same place. But we've determined that the police are probably not the best folks at this point in time to be dealing with mental health crisis. Not that they cannot, it's just that they're not trained in mental health response, whereas I am. In terms of the program funding, I'll be honest with you, I'm a frontline worker. I don't know anything about the funding side, but what I do know is that we do support every township in this community, Seguin, Carling, McKellar, all the areas. And it's been me since the beginning, so that consistency has remained. And I basically just connect people to any mental health or addiction resources or support them in hospital for stabilization. Yeah, I'm better if you ask me questions, if you have questions about the program.
I'm interested in what training you have.
So I have a Bachelor of Indigenous Studies and Psychology. I did a double major at Laurentian University. And then most of my colleagues are like in other MCERT programs, it's a variety. They could be nurses, social service workers, masters. It kind of is a range, but mine is Indigenous Studies as the primary.
And what's our primary focus? What do you see the most of in West Parry Sound?
There's a lot of addiction struggles, I would say. And I actually have a background doing addiction counseling, so that's kind of where my passion lies. I'd say addiction is number one. And then with the legalization of cannabis, we are noticing a lot of younger male psychosis. Yeah, which, not a lot of people know, but cannabis is like a huge trigger for males under 30 years old to have psychosis. So we're finding a lot of folks are presenting in hospital or presenting in community in a bizarre state. And it's because they have used cannabis without issue. And then suddenly it onsets psychosis and we get involved. Yeah.
Anybody else got questions?
Michaela, could you just talk about some of the results you've seen in the reduction of interaction with some of the clients, I
Yeah.
guess we'll use as a term,
For sure.
but the reduction that you've seen in interactions with them, with both the police and with the healthcare system?
Gotcha. Easy to speak on that. I have a gentleman who I've been working with since the start of the MCERT program. So about 2 to 3 years ago, when we were first getting calls for him for service, they were related to neighbor disputes, being assaulted by people in the apartment building, having issues in the outdoor garden that he was trying to participate in. And it was quite frankly taking up a lot of police resources. So they decided, since this individual has a brain injury and some mental health and addiction struggles as well, let's engage MCERT and see what they can do. We basically just engaged to build rapport with this gentleman because he did not want to work with anyone else in community. It looked like bringing him flowers to add to his community garden. It looked like dropping off a double every other week. And it looked like just sitting down with him and letting him rant and ramble for a little while. So I recently went and looked at the call volume to see how much he's decreased since MCERT has been engaged. We are getting less than a call a month, whereas before we were getting 2 a week. So he has like greatly reduced his calls for service, and he now knows that if he has an issue in community, he can reach out directly to MCERT as opposed to going through police and spending those tax dollars and also taking up our police time, which we have low staffing. So that helps us as well.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I want to thank you for taking this on.
I have a question.
Hey,
Anybody hear me?
in a minute, Councillor Fellner has the floor
Yeah,
right
I
now.
wanted to thank you for taking this on. This is really important stuff. And there's a real shortage of this type of thing in today's society, I think. Where are you guys based? Like, have you got an office or?
Yeah, so it's actually a partnership through the OPP and Canadian Mental Health in Parry Sound. So I actually work for the Indigenous program through Canadian Mental Health in Parry Sound. So we range from Henvey Inlet all the way down to Wata.
Water?
Yeah, and then over across to Moose Deer Point as well.
Cool.
And then the OPP obviously cover up to Henvey and then down to MacTier. So,
Great.
and then so my office is CMHA in Parry Sound, but I work out of the OPP detachment in Parry Sound.
And what can we do to help you? Is there
Wow.
things that we could do that would help you?
Honestly, what Greg does, like inviting me to health fairs, inviting me into community events, like markets, walking the Rosso market, anything that you can do to let the community know that I'm available so that people know when they call police, there is an option that is not just police response. Because I think the more people know about the service's availability, the more people will use it and the better outcomes we can have for people diverted from hospital or criminal justice system.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Finson and then Counselor Collins.
First thing I'd like to say is thank you.
Of course,
I'm gonna get emotional, but
absolutely.
I work at the health unit for a long time, since
Mhm.
2018, and there's nothing I can tell them. So
Yeah.
I wonder if is it that you were doing this work?
Oh, I appreciate
Because it isn't there, and it's sad.
it. Mhm.
Nice, beautiful people
Absolutely.
that come in and just need supplies. So it's so nice to have something else for
Yeah.
them. I know somebody personally
Mhm.
who suffered psychosis in university. Nobody knew. It was just marijuana.
Mhm.
It almost killed somebody and himself. So it's wonderful. He's in Toronto. They may not have the same kind of program there, but I'm telling you, it's really needed. And what a gift to
Thank
the
you.
community.
Thank you. And just speaking to harm reduction, I also am super well versed in harm reduction and I come with a people first mindset. So I'm going to help a person whether they're actively using or they're in recovery. There's no judgment on my end. I take you where you're at. Yeah.
Counselor Collins. He's on Zoom.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Thank you. This was actually one of the events that took place at the Phenom meeting. And it was the speaker was Brent Kalowinski, and he's with the community of North Bay, Safety and Well-Being. And it was an excellent presentation about people with mental health at the later stages in life. And it kind of segued into our DSAD meeting on the 8th, which was, on the 8th, the day after we came back from Phenom, with they are into now the, what's called the EDI, which is Early Development Instrument now, that that they are doing, and it's starting at a very early age. In other words, this is being handled now at preschool and kindergarten, grade 1, grade 2 ages, so that uh, they are I guess not studying the children, but watching them closely. That if there's early stages of mental health, and this is a big deal. This is a big deal right now, and I'm sure that this council will support you 100% moving forward. It is a strong mental health issue, and I personally am looking forward to working with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I know I mentioned this to Greg before in a meeting, but if you have a brain in your head, you have mental health. If you have a brain, that's what it is. It's just a matter of if you have poor mental health or good mental health. So everyone in these communities has it.
Counselor Getty. And then Counselor Adams. after.
Thank you. Sorry, thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to follow up on what Terry had asked, what we can do as a council, and not to jump, because you're not in a position to say it, but the mobile crisis response teams elsewhere in the province are permanently funded. A number of them. Some are temporary funding. Many are permanently funded and entrenched by the provincial government. The program that we have in Parry Sound, West Parry Sound District right now is not permanent funding. It's a rollover effect. And at any given time when that funding runs out, Michaela would just go back and be working with mental health in Perry Sound, and the program will be dissolved. The reality of that happening, I would hope, isn't realistic, but I think it's incumbent upon us as a council, seeing the benefit of this program, that whatever we can do to support in lobbying the provincial government to make this a permanent program within the West Perry Sound District. Part of the reason why I'm going to, in fairness to the province, is that they have to see the benefit of result of the program. But, you know, us working in the community know that in fact, all of those issues exist, and anything that we can do as the funding timeline comes up, then I think that I think you'll find that there'll be support from this council and the mayor and staff to see what we can do to try to move that along, to make it a permanent program within West Perry Sound. Thank you.
Just a question. Do you know when the funding goes to? Is it on the fiscal year? Which
It's not. It's not on the fiscal year. I believe we started our funding in October, so I believe we're October to October at this point. Yeah.
is that funding from mental health or from OPP?
My understanding is the Solicitor General.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a place to send a resolution.
I'll follow up with the staff sergeant at West Perry Sound and find out where we should target, for lack of a better term, where our correspondence is support for the program. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Adams, you had a comment?
Yes, I just want to say it sounds like a great program. And is there any risk to use yourself as far as going out, and like, are you supported all the time while you're out?
Yeah, so when I'm out in community, the typical MCERTS program is a dedicated OPP officer and myself, and we will always ride together in the cruiser
Okay,
so that you're getting the response. So the goal of the program is for the OPP to keep me safe.
okay,
Is there risk? Always. You're with
Good.
police, and we know in the current climate that police are a bit of a target. So that being said, there is risk, but I'll be honest with you, I got blinders on to risk. I'm just there for the client, and it's the police's job to make sure that I'm safe.
cool. I think it's a great program, and I'm sure Seguin would support this. Thank you.
Councillor Fellner.
Sorry, one last question, and it's probably to Councillor Getty more than to you, but are there plans for this young lady to go see some other councils in the area?
I'm going tomorrow to Perry Sound, and then I've also talked to Carling. I'm going to everyone.
You're going to McDougall?
Yep. Yep.
Because I think it'd be more weight if we, you know, yeah, as a council, as a whole for the region, all the councilors, you know, pass basically the same resolution, because I think it's something that needs to get done. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Just a very quick question. Where would somebody find you on the internet or in social media?
That's a great question. I don't have social media, but if they wanted to find me, I always tell people I am the only Michaela employed at the West Perry Sound OPP and the Canadian Mental Health of Muskoka Perry Sound. So until another Michaela is employed, that's what I'll be saying. That's how you find me. Yeah.
And she's going to,
Yes. Yes. And I have cards here with me now if you would like some as well. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming. Sorry to interrupt, but I have a motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby receive the staff reports as presented on the agenda for the May 12th, 2025 meeting of council. Can I have a mover? All in favor? And I believe we have Valerie here to take us through item 6A about the township branding. Over to you, Brent.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. So this process began late last year where we engaged Cinnamon Toast to assess the township's next steps and community thoughts on a rebranding or a branding refresh. And since that time, we've heard from the community and we heard from council that we should revisit our options in terms of engaging this third party. And since that time, I've been working, as you can see in the report, on what I think would be next steps and what the organization feels would best meet your expectations and what we heard from the community. So the recommendation is to move the branding refresh internally. And since our last meeting, we did hire a part-time person to support the communications department who has graphic design expertise, which is quite serendipitous as the website is coming down the pipe, and we have a lot of township signage that needs to be updated. The timing works out really well. So I'm here to take any questions or address any concerns about this recommendation.
Okay, thank you,
I have a
Councillor Getty.
question.
Okay, and I'll get to you, Councillor Collins, in a minute.
Thank you.
Valerie, I just wanted to say thank you. I think it's a great recommendation and you've got my complete support. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you. Councillor Collins, you have a comment?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Valerie, this work, is this about any of the decorative display signs? For example, the signs in Orville, the entrance signs, welcome to Orville signs. Is
Well,
that part of this or no?
in theory, it would be. We would reassess those signs as they approach the end of life. So I believe, I don't have the document exactly in front of me right now. I can open that up. Those signs will be reaching end of life in the next few years. And at that time, we would add the new refreshed logo, but keep the spirit of the sign. So it would still say the same thing, but perhaps with a brighter look and the same sort of tone, welcome to Orville. We would not be getting rid of those.
Yeah, like you wouldn't be replacing them. You would just be putting a new logo on them, correct? But everything else stays the same.
The infrastructure for
Meaning
the
that,
sign, sorry.
yeah, the welcome signs, when it was established, so on and so forth.
Yes,
Because,
those,
because I went through public meetings back in 2015, 16 about those and meetings with MTO, because those signs are what they're called is decorative display welcome signs into our settlement areas. And so, yeah, I was just worried about that simply because it's been done, and I think it's only been 9 years or 10 years since the sign's been erected. And then from that point, then they went into Humphrey and Foley, where Rosso just got their signs, but they're called billboards in Rosso. They're not decorative display signs like the other settlement areas. So I just thought I'd let you know that. I'm glad that you're not, that's down the road, and I'll probably not be a counselor at that time. So, because I didn't want these signs being touched.
I understand. That makes sense, Councillor Collins. I'm looking at the document right now, and the welcome to signs appear to be not up for replacement until 2028. So we certainly would use the findings that helped us to create the messages on those signs if they were to be refreshed to keep the integrity of what the objective is for those signs.
Good.
Okay, Councillor Fellner.
Yeah, thanks, Valerie. So really what what you're suggesting is just using internal staff, mild tweak, some improvements here or there where they can be made, but not changing anything that isn't broken. I think it's a great idea. And I as well thank you for thinking out of the box and internalizing this to the point you have. I think it's really important, and I'm fully supportive of your report as well. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Fellner.
I think you're hearing support from council to proceed as you recommend. And we'll look forward to seeing, I saw a date in that report. We'll look forward to seeing some options. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Believe that the next one comes to us with Dominique on the rental for the nursing station. There you are, Dominique. Over
Hello.
to you.
Good afternoon. This is an updated agreement between the township and West Perry Sound Health Center for the Rosso nurse practitioner-led clinic, more commonly known, I would say, as the Rosso Nursing Station. So this agreement has been in place for years, but over the last few years, we've noticed there's a few maintenance issues. It's not quite clear who's supposed to be doing what. So this year was the time to just update that agreement, make it more clear for both sides. And the rest of the agreement is very much the same with no changes. So it's just a simple update.
Thank you. So I have a motion that bylaw number 2025-037, being a bylaw to enter into a lease agreement between the West Perry Sound Health Center and the Corporation of the Township of Seguin for facilities located at 17 Victoria Street in the village of Rosso. It's the rural nurse practitioner-led clinic. The Rosso site is hereby deemed to have been read a first, second, and third time and passed by council. Can I have a mover, Gail, and a seconder? Greg, all in favor? Thank you. Thank you, Dominique, for managing that. And I have a motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby adopt staff report number TR 2025-004 for 2025 PSAB expenditures and regulation number 284/09 of the Municipal Act, copy attached as Schedule A to this resolution. Can I have a mover? Ken, and a seconder? Mario? And I believe we have Michelle here to talk to it.
Yes, thank you, and I'm sorry about my voice. The 28409 report is what allows the township to continue to budget under the old Municipal Act rules as opposed to under the PSAB rules, which is how we report our financial statements.
This comes before us every year, and it seems like gobbledygook to me, but it's the rules. Do you have a question? Councillor Bazinski.
First, a comment. Michelle, I think you need a holiday.
Thank you.
What you're basically giving before us is just a standard accounting since they changed the regulation on you.
What this does is it shows the differences between the Municipal Act budgeting, where you have to have a bottom line of 0, compared to the PSAB budgeting, which in some years, depending on how your capital funding has worked, you may have a deficit, you may have a surplus. So this is just what allows us to continue to budget in the traditional format.
Thank you. So all in favor of passing this? Thank you. And I think you have to stay with us for a minute, Michelle. I have a motion that bylaw number 2025-031, being a bylaw to adopt the estimates of all sums required during the year and to strike the tax rates for the year 2025, is hereby deemed to have been read a first, second, and third time and passed by council. I need a mover, Ken, Greg. And is there any discussion? It's a very comprehensive report. It means that all the external levies are now here and there's no more uncertainty in the tax numbers. Any questions for Michelle? Councillor Bazinski.
And just to confirm, the surplus from last year was factored into this and to reduce the taxes?
That's correct. On Schedule A, it shows the changes to the operating budget, and part of that was including the 2024 surplus in the 2025 revenue.
Thank you. All in favor? Thank you. And that is carried. And you get well.
Thank you. I have a motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby support the correspondence dated May 5th, 2025, attached as Schedule A from the Federation of Ontario Cottagers Association, better known as FOCA, to the Honorable Doug Ford, Premier, the Honorable Todd McCarthy, Minister of the Environment, Conservation and Parks, urging for their support to support the Lake Partner Program by confirming a new 5-year agreement between FOCA and the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks. Could I have a mover? Mario? And Gail? We were asked to do this because apparently the Lake Partner Program is at risk of being discontinued. And it is what helps us test our waters, take care of our waters. So it's really encouraging the Ontario government to continue its support. Does anybody have any other comments or questions? All in favor? Thank you. And that's carried. I have a motion that bylaw number 2025-032, being a bylaw to revoke the appointment of James Evans as a building official for the Corporation of the Township of Seguin, is hereby deemed to have been read a first, second, and third time and passed by council. Okay, Terry and Gail. Any comments or questions? He is going on to become a teacher. All in favor? And he's also the energy behind the Perry Sound Volleyball Club. So I hope we'll continue to see him there. I have a motion that bylaw number 2025-033, being a bylaw to enter into a commercial lease agreement between Mike Beasley and the Corporation of the Township of Seguin for facilities located at Plan 163, Part Lot 18, Village of Rosso, known as 1142 Highway 141, is hereby deemed to have been read a first, second, and third time and passed by council. Could I have a mover? Ken? And a seconder? Craig? Are there any comments or questions? All in favor? That's carried. And now we have council reports. We'll start with you, Ken. Put it in your drawer, so don't mind.
It's been really quiet. The only thing I've got is 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. I was at the Phenom in North Bay. It was really good. I was a little disappointed to have to switch from my one table to the other room. But it was a good conference. Thank you.
Councillor Bazinski.
I was also at the Phenom meeting, and it was a good meeting, and found that having the ministers on the last day was very good because it kept a lot of people who might have taken off the night before attentive, shall we say. Variety of things. They had a good trade show. I talked with someone that I'll be with respect to waste management, that I'll be talking to our CAO and Director of Works and Forest about, and made some good contacts. So that was good. Secondly, I did attend Muskoka Watershed Council meeting, and in terms of actual contact with my ratepayers, I've had a number of people questioning me on the minister's zoning order. So I was hoping that maybe in his report, our CAO could give us an idea of what the status of the studies were and when we could look forward to being able to talk to the public about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. The 24th, I had a West Perry Sound Police Services Board meeting. That's continuing to evolve. Historically, when it was an advisory committee, quarterly, we would have crime statistics that we'd be able to bring back to council to see what was going on, monitor what was going on in the community. With the establishment of the West Perry Sound Police Services Board, the board now sits in function for all of West Perry Sound. So my position on that board is not, although I am a councillor from Seguin, I am a member of that board overseeing the complete West Perry Sound District. That being said, obviously, as council representatives on that committee, we want to know what is happening from a crime perspective in the community, so that if there's anything that we as a council or staff and or the police can do. So what we're going to do is, as opposed to quarterly reports, Helena Wall, the staff sergeant in charge of the OPP detachment in Perry Sound, is going to provide us biannual reports. So on June 30th and January 1st or December 31st, we'll get a report, and I'll report back after that. The numbers that we have in reality are very low. So you see these huge percentage swings. When you go from one incident to two incidents, it shows 100% increase. And in fairness, you know, depending on how you read it, it really doesn't give you a good perception of what is going on. So I think the benefit of the biannual will allow us to look at it and come up with, if required, any strategies or monitor, possibly through the Seguin Business Group or through some of our community groups, to better serve the community. The 28th, we had the special council meeting, and then the following that, the training day, the day after. Other than that, it's been fairly quiet, other than several calls. Thank you.
Councillor Fellner.
Thank you, Mayor. It's been quiet for me as well since the last meeting, and it was just pushed 1 week because all of you people that are off in North Bay, that I can't remember whether there was a rec committee meeting before or after the last meeting. I think I reported it. I did go to the Indigenous training, and I found it very informative. And also, I see that the sanitary sewer connection now has been completed for the pool. And anybody hasn't been by there in the last few weeks, it's astounding, like week by week by week, how far they're progressing with this thing now. It's really taking shape. So saw a bunch of guys standing on the roof the other day, so I imagine they're sealing her up. So all good things. So I have meeting for the pool later this week. So that's all I have to report.
Councillor Collins.
Yeah, no, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I also was at that special meeting, attended it by Zoom on the 28th. I was at the staff Indigenous, I'm going to say, get together as well. I also attended the Phenom meeting 567. On the 8th, we had a DSAB meeting on the 9th. Friday, I had a meeting with the Maple Lake group regarding Camp George, and the CAO attended that meeting. And yeah, it's been a busy week. Thanks.
I attended the Earth Day celebrations in the afternoon on April 22nd when we left here, and did a little hike with everybody. On April the 28th, there was a special council meeting, and then we had the council training on the 29th. In the afternoon, we did the biosphere, which was very interesting, learned a lot. And interestingly enough, it was also discussed at Phenom. The same sort of things that we're discussing here are being discussed there. So it was nice to know. Had a Rosso Memorial Hall meeting on April 30th. We have a gala on July 12th, and we have a fashion show that we're going to participate in, and they're hoping the mayor will be in the fashion show. I haven't told her that yet. Anyway. Anyway. And I attended.
Take it easy, girl. Take it easy.
I attended FONM, 5th to the 7th. It was very interesting. It was, all the presentations were good. The only part I had a hard time was sitting for those long periods of time. It's hard on my back. So I went to get a massage when I got home. Anyway, on the DSAB meeting on May the 8th was amazing. They talked a lot about the early development stuff for collecting data on young people to be able to compare that data as they get older to see what kind of set them in the direction they were going. It was very interesting. They did a really beautiful presentation on the Esprit and all of the things that they're doing for women. It's like, it's heart-wrenching. It's beautiful, whatever they're doing. They're doing such a great job. It was a real pleasure to be there. And then what else did I do? I can't remember, but I think I think that's it. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. So I repeat some of these. April 22nd, I did the Earth Day celebrations across the street after council. The 24th, Dominique, Valerie, and I attended with a group via Zoom, a group that's starting a youth engagement initiative called Youth Unplugged. And that is youth getting together in the evening with no phones, no iPads, no nothing. And they're building, through word of mouth, quite a following. So Seguin's going to help them with their publicity and that kind of thing. The special council meeting for Strong Mayors was on the 28th. And staff and council training on the 29th. May 1st was the business committee. And we are working with Chris Mahon and Valerie and the business committee to try and get, and the new website, an interactive business directory that will work this time. On the 3rd was the Maple Syrup Festival in Perry Sound, and I received the proceeds from the butter tart tasting, which has been donated to the Recreation Center. This year they used professional cooks to be the judges, not all of us mayors and other people that didn't feel so well last year after 28 butter tarts. And the 5th and 7th, I was in FONM. And then last Friday, I was at the groundbreaking ceremony at Belvedere for the addition, and it was well attended by our Member of Parliament and the Deputy Minister of Long-Term Care, and I think all of the mayors were there. I just want to speak a tiny bit to the Strong Mayor's powers, as our CAO and our clerk and our deputy clerk are learning. There are more to this than just ignoring it. We're all at a learning stage, but my intention is to work with the clerk to do the paperwork that we need to keep everything the way it is now, which means, for instance, that I will hand over human resources to the CAO, which is what he does now. I don't want anything to do with human resources. And that I will ask council, when we have the right paperwork, to still be, as council, in charge of the hiring and firing of the CAO. So the paperwork is a work in progress, and as Craig has said, there are some townships and cities that have had this for 2 years and they don't know what they're doing yet. So we really are learning as we go. It's my intention to keep council completely up to date on what we're doing as we learn what we have to do. And the only other thing I want to remind you to put on your calendar is the council staff barbecue on Thursday, June 26th. And we'll hand out assignments on shopping and cooking closer to that time. Over to you.
Thank you, Worship. Just wanted to take a moment on behalf of the organization to thank the many volunteers, the partner organization, and community members who made our various Earth Day initiatives possible. Just last Tuesday, the township collaborated with the Humphrey School classes to plant 400 white spruce seedlings at the Humphrey Nature Trails. There are still a few spaces left for Georgian Bay Biosphere's Kitchen to Compost pilot program. For $25, residents can get the equipment and information they need to start a safe and effective backyard composting system. If you're interested, please visit seguin.ca/waste for details. Spring maintenance continues on township roads. Half load restrictions remain in place. The Public Works Department is indicating that load restrictions will be lifted by the end of the week. So good news. Also, the township is working to enhance our waste management plan by gathering resident feedback on how we might enhance options at our waste transfer stations. Everyone within the community is encouraged to complete a short survey at letsconnectseguin.ca. That survey will close on June 1st, so please get the word around. The second annual Seguin Health Fair is coming up on Tuesday, May 27th. It'll be at the Humphrey Community Center between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. This event is led by the West Parry Sound Health Center Rural Nurse Practitioners-led clinic in partnership with the township. This year's event is focused on health and wellness programs and services available for Seguin Township residents of all ages. Again, visit seguin.ca/healthfair or visit our Facebook page for more information. Also, Seguin Family Fun Night is booked. Put it in your calendars, June 20th at the Rosso Waterfront. The event will feature live music, bouncy castles, a barbecue, and more. Watch our social media channels and seguin.ca for more information in the coming weeks. And also the Seguin Recreation and Culture Committee is hosting 2 events next month, a community dance on June 21st and a Canada Day celebration on June 28th. Again, watch our social media and website for details. And just to follow up on Councillor Brzezinski's request for an update on the studies related to the Minister's zoning order lands. Perhaps just a brief summary for those that maybe didn't recall. We initiated that project in the summer of 2024 with a duration of 24 to 28 months. I did provide a rather comprehensive report on March 3rd outlining the various key milestones, some of which are coming rather soon, which include the establishing the problem and the opportunity, which is being finalized as we speak, developing alternative solutions, which will happen in the next 6 to 8 weeks, with all background studies being completed in July of 2025. Moving into the fall, you'll see we'll select a preferred alternative. That'll be a council discussion, and there'll be a public information center held in October. After that, we'll post the draft master plan for 30-day public input. That's anticipated to begin in January, and completion of the MECP 30-day review is anticipated for April. And we plan to finalize and file the master plan with MECP in April of 2026. So just a brief reminder, some key dates coming. Public Information Center is anticipated to be in October of this year. That's an opportunity for the public to comment on studies as they near completion. In the coming weeks, month or so, we anticipate having a public information and council engagement discussion on servicing strategies, and that report will be made public via the Let's Connect website. And then later on this year, early next year, there'll be review periods on the draft master plan as it gets into its final stages. So our consultants are very busy. They've been reaching out to neighboring municipalities for information, including servicing and MECP reports to review projections and are exploring those various servicing options and transportation links at this time. So more to come in the coming weeks, but the project continues to forge forward as anticipated. And I hope that answers the request for information. That's it for me, Your Worship.
Thank you. Any questions for anybody? Okay. I have a motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby receive the board and committee minutes and agendas and the correspondence as presented on the agenda and the addendum for May 12th, 2025 meeting of council. Gail and Terry. All in favor? Thank you. And okay. I have a motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby proceed to a closed meeting at 3:34 PM in order to address matters pertaining to litigation and potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the Ontario Mission for the Deaf, Ontario Camp for the Deaf update, and advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose. Could I have a mover, Greg and Mario? All in favor? Okay. I have a motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby rise from the closed session and declare the regular meeting reconvened at 3:55 PM. Can I have a mover? Gail? And Greg? All in favor? And I have a motion that bylaw number 2025-034, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of meetings of council, is hereby deemed to have been read a first, second, and third time and passed by council. Ken and Mario? All in favor? And you always race to do this one. Motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby adjourn this meeting at 3:56 PM. To meet again on Monday, June 2nd, 2025. We're at the call of the mayor. Who have I got? Greg and Ken? All in favor? Thank you very much. And